This episode is sponsored by the Pisgah Coaching Institute, founded by IFS-trained master coach Brian Jadon, who has been a pioneer in the integration of IFS and coaching for more than 2 decades. Brian and his faculty teach a blended methodology for clarifying and living into a vision of any kind. Enrollment is now open for his 2026 training. To learn more, go to pisgahcoaching.com. That is PISGAH coaching.com. Welcome to The One Inside, an internal family systems podcast. My name is Tammy Sallenberger. I am the author of The One Inside, 30 Days to Your Authentic Self. I am super excited to have my friend Caitlan Siegenthaler, yes, on the podcast today. I'm going to read Caitlan's bio. I don't love reading bios, Caitlan. I know you have your own podcast. Do you read bios on your podcast?
No, I normally talk about like this person, and then the bio I leave in the show notes.
I do too, but I really liked your bio, and I found it like, I was like, yeah, this is Caitlan. Like, from working with you, I was like, oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna read it. So Caitlan is a level 2 IFS therapist. She's a mentor, writer, and she's a creator of Return, which is the top 10% global podcast for big-hearted humans. I love that. Ready to unhook from hustle culture and finally come home to themselves. You have a really fun thing on the on your email that's like, I don't check email all the time. I'm not into a hustle culture. And I was like, I check my email a million times a day. Maybe I'm too hooked into hustle culture. Caitlan has see, this is why I can't read bios. Caitlan has a master's in counseling and over a decade of clinical experience. She's trained in trauma recovery, internal family systems, and human design, which is what we're going to talk about today. And I cannot wait to talk about this. This is the line that I love. Caitlan's work is so amazing. It isn't just what she knows, it's what she sees. I love that. Caitlan has an uncanny ability to name what's hard to articulate, the invisible pressure to perform worthiness, the hidden ache inside high-functioning burnout, and the parts of us that look like confidence but are actually self-protection. I love it. Caitlan, welcome to The One Inside. You know that I simply adore you. Tell everybody where you are in the world and what you see when you look out your nearest window.
Thank you, Tammy, so much for that. And I actually can't take credit for that bio. Jalan wrote it for his podcast. So thanks, Jalan, for writing that, because I could never get that out about myself.
Right.
You
And
know?
it's so weird that bios, actually just had this conversation with somebody that you have to write a bio yourself. And you're like, that's super hard. But I definitely want to give a shout out to our mutual friend, Jalan, who introduced us.
Yes.
And we both just, I think,
Yes.
love so much. So,
A million
yeah. And
percent.
have you been on I'm guessing you've been on his podcast before.
We just recorded, but it hasn't released into the world yet. So
Okay.
stay tuned.
Okay. All right. So Jalan has a podcast. I've been on it a couple of times. So we highly recommend his podcast, and him as a human being. He's amazing.
A million
Yeah.
percent. Okay, you asked me a question, something about my window.
Yeah. So where are you in the
And
world?
where I-
Yeah. There we
Oh,
go.
okay.
We're never gonna get this done.
I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and outside my window right now, it's sunny. I see like beautiful green trees, and it makes me want to go outside, honestly. And just yesterday, I spent the afternoon at the beach with my son and my in-laws who are visiting from Switzerland, and it was just reminded me of that like presence, when we're just really in self, especially in nature. So for me, that's like a quick road to self.
Yes.
Going outside.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. How far away are you from the beach?
10 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it.
So lucky. Yeah.
All right. So you tell me what happened first, human design or IFS? And let's start with that question.
Ironically, human design happened first, actually, but in a really personal way. So I heard about it on a podcast in 2016, and I was like, what is this thing? And then I kept hearing about it, and I got more and more interested. And then I just started nerding out on it in a personal way. And it didn't come into my professional life until it came in via a client, which we can talk about. And then IFS came into my world like a lightning bolt in the end of 2019. And I was lucky enough to slide into a training in the UK, actually, in the beginning of 2020 because I was living in Switzerland at the time. So I feel like I'm kind of connected to like the abroad IFS group too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that because there is such a beautiful we were just at the conference together, and there's such a beautiful amount of work being done in the broad international IFS realm? Can we say it like that? But yeah, I love that. I love that. And so, okay, so you started doing IFS and then you were nerding out about human design and then you had a client. So tell me about this client and what happened.
Yes. So I like just personally was into it. I was studying and doing all of the things and like using it on myself and in my personal life. And I was working with this client, very aligned, and they came to me and they're like, "Hey, my friend gifted me a human design reading. Have you ever heard of it? Like, I want to talk about it because it's bringing up parts of me." And I was like, "Girl, sit down. Come on in. Yes, I have." And they were sharing with me about their chart. And I realized after working with them for about a year, it suddenly unlocked this like room of parts that we hadn't really been able to access because knowing their design suddenly helped this client have, by the way, I've gotten their permission to talk about this publicly for any concerned parts, therapist parts of anyone listening, they have given me permission. Anyways, so they we just unlocked like this room of parts that we couldn't really reach otherwise because their parts felt so seen and really empowered by knowing their chart. And instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so lazy, they had a part that was like, wait a second, this is my energy and this information that my parts are giving me is related to that. And it almost helped parts not hold that story any longer or that perspective. They almost kind of had to be like, "Oh, whoa,"
Yeah,
if that
it
makes
does.
sense.
All right, so I'm gonna give an example of what happened in my life recently that I was gonna email you about, but then I was like, "Don't email her about work stuff." Like, yeah. So I'm gonna tell you this, and then let's back up and ask and talk about what is human design. Like, what in the world are we even talking about? Okay. Okay, so here's another plug for human design. So I've been working with Caitlan, and this is just blowing my mind. So one of the things about my chart is that I have all this open center in my my head, like my throat, and it's my head and there's like three open centers, right? It's what is it? What are
Yes.
my open?
Your head, your throat. I almost was like, "Kaylin, pull up Tammy's chart." Um, hang on, hold please. I can access it. Yeah, it's definitely your throat. I remember that one. I'm pretty sure it's either your head center or your ajna center, but I'll be able to confirm in about 2.5 seconds. Oops. Oh, yeah, all of it. Head, ajna, and throat, and your emotional center are all open. So 4 centers out of 9. It's almost half.
Yeah. Okay. So here's one of the things that I'm really learning. Oh, and then my closed centers are where the centers that I have a lot of power in. I don't know if that's the right word. Are my heart center and my intuition, like my intuition center. Is that would you say a center? Okay. Okay. So
Yes,
those are
yes.
places that I have lots of power. And so what I notice, I'm noticing this all over the place. It's like when I can get very I could have a hard time finding words, like ramble, ramble, ramble to find the words. But there's also this, one of my friends was talking about something. So this is what happened. One of my friends was talking about something that he was really into that I don't agree with. And so we're in the car and he's talking, talking, talking. And what I noticed is there were these parts of me that were like, I have to believe what he's saying or I have to agree with what he's saying. And what if I don't? And what if but it was these parts that were all this openness as if I have to fully believe what this person's saying or identify with that. And I thought, okay, wait, and it's causing all this activation. Like my parts were like, no, 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 no. And I just felt all this activation. And so I was like, okay, wait a minute. I think this is part of my openness that I'm just like, sure, I'll buy that Tupperware. Like I just will believe or buy it. So I was like, okay, this is part of the openness. What happens if I just come back and put my energy into my heart? And what does my heart say? What does my intuition say? And can I just lean into that? And I felt this self energy immediately. And I was like, "Whoa." And then it was like it didn't even matter what the person said. I still really liked the person, and I was like, "Okay, that's his beliefs about that. That's not my beliefs, and that's okay." It was wild, and all of this happened within, like, 30 seconds. Me being able to be, like, open, heart, intuition, it was, like, 30 seconds, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta tell Caitlin, and I'm telling you now."
First of all, love it. I'm so obsessed. Please email me stuff like that all the time because I still get so excited for anyone who has that, like, almost an unblending experience. A way it's almost a map to where our self energy lives and how we can better use it and where we might take on or our parts might take on more things from other people. And just I'm a visual learner too, so having that visual element to human design, there is a chart of it, I feel like helps at least some of my parts as
100%,
well.
100%, because even as we're talking about, I can picture my chart, I can picture the openness, I
Yeah.
can picture my heart, like that all that power in my heart, and then that my intuition, and it's almost like is a beautiful unblending because I was so blended with these parts that were very activated, and they were very upset and very anxious, and I was just like, "Oh, wait, this is what this is." And then I can tell you, which I'm not going to, but I can tell you of other times when I've been very upset by other people's something, and it's like, but it's not mine, it's theirs. And there's all kinds of, I think, very good reasons why I have all this openness, but yeah, so it's been fascinating and a game changer. It's been a game changer.
Wow. Oh, that makes me so
Yeah.
excited. Yes, it was like seeing it with this client and then knowing with me and then knowing personally how it had impacted me. I was like, wait a second, I think this is something that is going to help people in this way. And so I love what you're
I love
saying.
it. Okay, so tell me so for all the people that are like, this is it's I almost want to sell it that way first before we talk about what it is. Cause I think if someone told me what it is, I would be like, okay, that's weird. It's like kind of like IFS or the Enneagram, where you're like, that's what okay, whatever, that's kind of weird. So I'm just gonna say that for people's like parts that are like like skeptical, this is weird, all those parts are welcome. Um, but yes, let's talk about what in the world is human design. What are we talking about?
Yes, I love it. I still have skeptical parts sometimes where I'm like, are we getting this from the chart?
Yeah.
I did a reading for Dr. Schwartz and he goes, "Can you got this just from my date, time, and location of birth?" So like crazy, right? Okay, so what is human design? It is like if your astrology chart and your chakra system all had a baby and they combined together into one, and they gave you this chart of who you are authentically designed to be in the world, what gifts you brought in, what your life purpose is, which yours is a lot in your heart, what your energy is like, where you're picking up energy from other people versus what energy is unique to you. And if you want to get into the nitty gritty of it, it's a system of systems, both ancient and modern. So it combines the I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, the chakra system, the astrology system, and the, like, quantum physics kind of energetic pieces. So it's so complex, and honestly, for anyone listening, you should pull your chart at some point if you're curious, but it will look like hieroglyphics, I promise you. You'll be like, "What is this?" There's triangles and squares and all of those things, and when I first heard about it as well, I just had parts that were like, "This sounds kind of weird," but when I heard about my own design, so much resonated that I was like, "This is weird, but also wonderful." So,
Yeah, I love that. Right. It's like weird and you're like, there's something here because you're explaining, and I feel this way about the Enneagram, like you're explaining something that was like my felt experience that I've never been able to explain or put words to.
that's exactly it. I tell so many people when I give them a reading, like, you might have already sensed this within yourself, but it's hard to find the language for it, and human design gives us a language and a visual chart to kind of point back to or resource. And I also like updating my parts and being like, "Hey, have you seen this? Do you know that I have an open emotional center and that maybe I'm just amplifying the emotions of people around me, and maybe this doesn't actually belong to me, and that can be so helpful for parts too.
My guess is that I've just learned or you've taught me, like, a very thin, like, basic because there's probably so much more, like, depth and understanding to human design.
Yeah, and this is where I think it mirrors IFS in a beautiful way, right? Like, we can get so much benefit from using IFS and having this much understanding of it. And we can get so much benefit when we understand this. And when we go into, like, oh my gosh, this part has, 5% self energy, but it's also carrying this thing. And I need to go update this protector. And it's similar with human design. It's like it's beneficial in a very big picture way when you know 5%, and it's beneficial when you know 95% as well, and you can kind of keep doing that. And for me, and part of the reason why my podcast is called Return is because it is just like continuing to come back, and it's almost like a spiral, right? It's like both of those systems, IFS and human design, help us return and come back to ourselves in that spiral over and over again through their complexities.
Mhm. I love that, I love that. So, it's, like, returning to myself, like, capital S self, yeah.
Yes.
Um, what about I feel like people know this about humanism. I don't know if they know this or not, but I've heard these terms before about, like, generator, and so can we just
Mhm.
talk about what that means? So we talked about, like, kind of the open and closed a little bit, but what are those terms?
Yeah, I think if you started to just go look into human design, the thing that you're going to find the most information about is your energy type. It's sort of like the big kind of header. If you were if you were an essay, I don't know where that metaphor is coming from, but if you were an essay, the like title would be your energy type, right? And there are 5 of them. And generator is one of them. You happen to be a generator. There's also a manifesting generator. So I know Jeff, who helps you produce the podcast and is very much a part of this. He's a manifesting generator. I'm a projector, which is a different type. And then there's manifestor and reflector. And what I find most interesting, or the way I like to think about the energy types, is they all come with a different role. So if we were running a relay race at a track, the manifester would be the person that's starting off the starting blocks and is like the person that like whoosh, there they go. And then the manifesting generator would get the baton next because they're like, yes, I have so much energy and I'm excited. And they're part manifester, part generator. And then the generator would just, like, finish the race, and they're like, "Yes, I can keep going, I can do all of the things." And then the projector is the guide, so they're like the coach. They've organized everyone into where they should be in the race. And the reflector is the person in the stands, like, clapping and letting us know how we're all doing as a collective. And so one of my favorite things about human design, and I think it's similar to IFS too, like the more I'm in self, the more you're in self, right? It's the same thing with human design. Like the more I'm living in my projector alignment, the more you can be you and do your generator thing. And that keeps us all kind of working together in harmony. And it's a little bit kumbaya, but I really do like it.
I love it, I love that. Well, you have said that's a beautiful metaphor, and you've said this to me, and I was like, "This is interesting," but, for me living into my purpose, like, in my heart, living into my purpose, helps everyone else live into their purpose, and that actually makes me feel, parts of me it's motivating. Like, it's motivating for parts of me that it's like, okay, it's not just about me, like, checking this crap off a list. It's actually, like, me doing my thing, which might mean check off crap off the list, but it also means that then you do your thing, and then Jeff gets to do his thing, and then that feels motivating and inspiring to me versus, like, just get this crap done.
Yes, and think about, like, oh my gosh, I could see it so embodied when we were at the conference and you and Jeff were teaching. Think about all of the people that just, because by the way, I was in other rooms and this was not happening. All the people that just kept coming up to both of you, to you, wanting to give you a hug and connect and hear more, and I believe that they can feel your heart behind the work. And that opens up, oh, I'm getting chills when I say this. That opens up something in them, in their heart space too.
So, I love the relay race. There's a part of me that's like, "Ugh, do I have to run so much?"
Yeah. Yes. And as a generator, I think generators have a heavier burden because there are more of you. It's about 40% of the population because we need that energy. But whenever I'm working with a generator or a manifesting generator, I like to get curious about the fuel, right? Like if we go back to the race, if you just ate like uh, ice cream, which I love. Listen, I was that soft serve thing at the conference one. Obsessed. Anyways, um, if you ate ice cream right before the race and you had to run a bit farther, that might not feel good. But if you ate something super nourishing like an apple, that is the kind of energy. And so this is where we can use human design to kind of flush out those complexities is like what is nourishing you though? Because yes, you have the energy to keep going, but is it coming from a part that wants to achieve or do the thing? And are there parts that are not helping you nourish yourself and have that kind of cleaner energy? Because another question I get is like, well, generators and manifesting generators, they have ongoing energy, but we're all human too. Like you're still susceptible to burnout, just like anyone else might be as well.
I love this too because it's like there are parts of me. I have a part that's like, I don't wanna be talking about myself, but, like, it's hard when it's like, I feel like it's an easier way to talk about human design, so I guess that's okay.
Yes, please. Yeah.
But there are parts of me that were like, wish that I had the personality that, like, I was standing on the 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 steps of the track, and I was, like, holding space and, like, very, like, kumbaya and, like but that's not my energy, right? That's not like, I could do that, but I like the idea of, like, well, that's not who I am? I mean, can I say it that broadly?
I think yes, and I think human design would say that that's who you are, and you come with this gift or this package of energy that extends to all of us, right? So, like, even if you're not standing outside of the race and you are the one participating in it, it doesn't mean that you're not a leader or that you're not that person too. It just means what your puzzle piece in the collective fits in that way. And this is where the nuance in human design comes in too, right? Like we know your life purpose is, you guys, Tammy has the coolest life purpose, first of all. And it's all in her heart. And it's really to like embody love, basically, which I think is the coolest thing. But that is unique to you, and not every generator has that as well. And so it's like when those parts feel that way, that makes a lot of sense to me. And so it's helping them see like kind of the different, it's almost like the different roles that we play, right? Like I'm a therapist and I'm a mother and I'm a partner and I'm a this. It depends also on the setting, but your energy is always with you, and so the energy that you're bringing is the race
Yeah,
metaphor.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, what else do we need to say about human design? Like, what for people that are skeptical, like, what would you like to tell them?
I would like to tell them that your skeptical parts make so much sense, and if anything resonates, amazing, and if it doesn't, you can leave it. Like, this is not a forced on you type of thing. I would also like to tell them that personally, I think combining this with IFS, if you're feeling like you want something IFS and this is a really interesting way to almost access a different portal of your parts or a different way to view yourself or a different way to unblend. Or I gave a reading to my supervisor, my IFS supervisor, Chrissy Tingle, who's a reflector, which is like only 1% of the population. So it's really rare. Yeah. And she said her reading was like a spontaneous unburdening because parts finally, like, heard something validating in a way, in a language that they maybe hadn't heard it before. And so for anyone listening that's even 2% curious, I would just say follow that and see where it leads, but it's not a forced kind of thing. And also, I'm really skeptical. I love to tell this story about my dad. So my dad is this big dude. He's like 6'4". He's like you know, into football and like very masculine led presence. I don't think he's ever seen a horoscope in his life. I don't think he could tell you what the chakra system is. But like 5 years ago, before I was doing this in a professional way, but I loved it personally, I got him a reading with someone and it came with this like little blueprint. To this day, he still references it and he still feels seen by it. And he's a manifester in human design, which is about like 7% of the population. So it's the second most rare type. And it's a really polarizing type. And I think they're pretty misunderstood. And it was so amazing to see this big, kind of burly, you know, dude feel so seen by something that's a little bit more woo. And so I'm here for anything that makes anyone feel more seen.
I love it. I love it. And you do a great job of like, I mean, we've met when I've been like, I'm a mess. I need to just tell you all this craziness is happening in my life. And you can take me from that to like talking about parts, looking at the chart. So where I feel very seen and I feel like so much self energy and so much unblending in that time. Like you just have a beautiful
Yeah.
gift. And so I just really appreciate that.
Mm. Thank you. I'm trying to work with parts to help me receive things like that more. So thank you very much for saying that. Yeah.
You're welcome, Caitlin. Okay, so if people want to find out more about you and like how they can get a reading or just more about human design, where can we send them to?
My website is the best place to do all of that stuff. It's just my full name, but my full name is like a lot of letters. So I'm sure that will be linked. And also for your listeners, if they're interested in like playing with the idea of human design and parts, I have a free podcast that they can listen to. It's 5 episodes that kind of takes them through making decisions, which is something we all have to do all the time. And the way human design says we should do it, and then the parts that come up so they can kind of play with how those two things go together. And that will be linked too. And that's a good way to like dip your toe in.
Love it,
So,
love it, love it. Okay. Okay, last question. If you
yes,
had to do something different in your life, what would you do?
I would be so much kinder to myself. Like, especially in my teens and 20s, like that inner critic was so tough and loud and really mean. And I just think about, yeah, things what life would have felt more fun, more hopeful had I been kinder. And so if I could do anything different, I would definitely go back and
Be kinder.
be nicer.
Yeah, I love that. So we're doing something new on the podcast. We've been doing these extended interviews where we talk about hope. So if people have been listening or if this is their first time listening, they might not have known because I don't know that we've been that explicit. But we've been doing this extended interview. So the podcast is going to end. We're going to end the podcast here in a minute or two. But Jeff and Caitlin and I are going to continue to talk about another subject or just kind of an extended interview that you can only get by being a paid subscriber on the One Inside Substack page. And so this is a new thing that we're going to keep doing, and we're going to keep pointing people to our Substack community and see what we can generate over there. And so we'll put a link for that, and then we'll try not to be too obnoxious, but we're really gonna be pushing that Substack community because we're gonna do these extended interviews, but we're also gonna be doing live events and some really fun stuff over there. So I'm excited for that. So Caitlin, thank you so much. I adore you. And so we'll say bye for now for all the podcast listeners. Um,
Bye.
Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you left a rating, a review, a like, comment, share with your family, your friends. That would mean so much to me. My book is available at your favorite independent bookstore or on Amazon. You can visit my website, tammysalenberger.com, or you can download a free Get to Know a Should part of you. You can follow me at IFS Tammy on Instagram and at The One Inside on Facebook and on YouTube. Jeff Schrum co-produces The One Inside, and I am forever grateful for Jeff. Also thankful for Jack Reardon for creating the music, and just thank you for listening. 6 seasons, over 1 million downloads. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you in this community. I'll see you next time.